The research station floated quietly in the darkness of space. It was not a large station, just 12 people living and working far from Earth. Captain Deho stood at the main window and watched the distant stars. He had been the station commander for 2 years now. The work was peaceful. They studied rocks and minerals from the planet below. Nothing exciting ever happened out here. Dr. Murray worked at her computer in the lab. She was examining data from the latest samples. The minerals they found here were rare and valuable. Other species in the galaxy wanted them too. But this was neutral space. Everyone agreed that no one owned it. That was supposed to keep them safe. Pilot Junho sat in the small hangar bay. He was checking the transport shuttle. At 24 years old, he was the youngest person on the station. He missed Earth sometimes, but he liked the quiet life out here. His friends back home had boring office jobs. At least he got to fly among the stars. Engineer Sora climbed through the maintenance tunnels. She was checking the life support systems. Everything needed to work perfectly. One small mistake in space could kill everyone. She took her job seriously. The station was old, but she kept it running well. The alarm started suddenly. It was a loud, piercing sound that filled every room. Daiho ran to the command center. The others followed him quickly. Their faces showed worry and confusion. "What is it?" Mirai asked as she entered the room. Daiho looked at the sensor display. His face went pale. "Ships, lots of them. Coming straight at us." Junho pushed past the others to see the screen. 15 large warships were approaching their position. They were moving fast. Their weapons were active. The sensor computer identified them quickly. Vrelnor Empire, Sora said quietly. Everyone knew that name. The Vrelnor were one of the most powerful species in the galaxy. They conquered weaker races and made them into slaves. They did not care about treaties or laws. A message came through on the communication system. A face appeared on the screen. It was a Vrelnor commander. His skin was gray and rough like stone. His eyes were small and black. His mouth had too many teeth. "Human vessel," the commander said. His voice was deep and harsh. "You will surrender your station immediately. You will submit to questioning. You will give us all your research data. Resistance will result in your deaths." Daiho stepped forward. He kept his voice calm and steady. "This station is in neutral territory. We are a civilian research facility. We have done nothing wrong. You have no authority here." The Vrelnor commander made a sound like grinding rocks. It might have been laughter. "We have the authority of strength. You have 1 hour to comply. After that, we will take what we want." The screen went dark. The command center was silent for a long moment. Everyone looked at Daiho. He was their leader. They needed him to know what to do. "Send a message to Earth Command," Daiho ordered. "Tell them what is happening. Request immediate assistance." Sora tried the communications panel. She pressed buttons and adjusted frequencies. Her face showed frustration. "They are blocking us. I cannot send anything. They have cut off all our signals." "The probe," Junho said suddenly. Everyone turned to look at him. "We have that old survey probe in the hangar. It has its own communication system. I could launch it before they notice. It is small. Their sensors might miss it." Daiho nodded quickly. "Do it. Record everything. Show them the Vrelnor threats. Give them our exact location." "Go now." Junho ran to the hangar. His heart was beating fast. He had never been this scared before. He pulled the probe from storage. It was old and dusty, but the system still worked. He connected his tablet and started recording. "This is Research Station Tajin," he said into the camera. His voice shook slightly. "We are under threat by Vrelnor military forces. They are demanding we surrender. This is a violation of neutral space treaties. We need help, please. We have 12 people here. Send anyone you can." He uploaded the footage to the probe. He added their coordinates and all the sensor data about the Vrelnor ships. Then he loaded it into the launch tube. The probe shot out into space. It was small and fast. It activated its tiny engine and disappeared into the darkness. Junho ran back to the command center. "It is away. I do not know if they saw it or not." They all watched the sensors. The Vrelnor ships continued moving closer. They formed a circle around the station. Now there was no way out. Even if they wanted to run, the shuttle would never make it past those warships. The hour passed slowly. No one spoke much. Mirai deleted the most sensitive research files. If the Vrelnor wanted their data, they would have to work for it. Sora prepared the station defenses. They were minimal. A few security doors and some basic locks. Nothing that would stop a military assault. Deho stood at the window again. He watched the Vrelnor ships getting closer. He thought about his wife back on Earth. He had promised her this assignment would be safe. He thought about his crew. They trusted him to protect them. He had failed. When the hour ended, the Vrelnor did not wait. Boarding tubes extended from 3 of the warships. They attached to the station with loud metallic clangs. The sounds echoed through the corridors. "Everyone stay together," Deho commanded. "Do not resist. Do not give them a reason to hurt anyone. We stay alive. That is the priority." The airlocks opened with a hiss. Vrelnor soldiers poured into the station. They were big, even bigger than the humans. They wore heavy armor and carried energy weapons. Their movements were efficient and professional. This was not their first boarding operation. The station crew was forced into the main common area. The Vrelnor commander from the screen walked in. He was even more frightening in person. He stood over 2 meters tall. His presence filled the room. "You are now prisoners of the Vrelnor Empire," he announced. "You will be questioned. You will provide all information we request. Those who cooperate will be treated well. Those who resist will suffer." He looked directly at Deho. "You are the commander. You will come with me first." 2 soldiers grabbed Deho and pulled him from the room. The others tried to follow, but more soldiers blocked them. Mirai shouted something, but the door closed. They were alone with armed guards watching them. Junho sat on the floor. He thought about the probe. It was somewhere in space now, moving away from them, carrying their message, their cry for help. He hoped someone would find it. He hoped someone would care enough to come. The station fell into an uneasy silence. Outside the windows, the Vrelnor warships hung in space like predators. Inside, 12 humans waited. They did not know if help would ever arrive. They did not know if anyone had even received their message, but the probe traveled on through the darkness. It carried its desperate signal across the vast emptiness of space. An SOS from humans who needed rescue, a call that would soon reach Earth, a message that would change everything. The probe drifted through space for 3 days. It was programmed to find the nearest relay station. When it finally made contact, the signal bounced across the galaxy. Within hours, it reached Earth Command. Admiral Hyun-soo was in a meeting when his aide interrupted. The young officer looked pale and worried. "Sir, we have received an emergency transmission. Research Station Taejin. They are under attack." The admiral stood up immediately. He was a tall man with gray hair and hard eyes. He had served in the military for 30 years. He had seen war and death and terrible things, but the thought of civilians in danger still made his blood run cold. He watched the recording from pilot Junho, the young man's frightened face. The Vrelnor commander's threats, the sensor data showing 15 warships. When it ended, Hyun-soo's jaw was tight with anger. "Get me the 3rd Fleet," he ordered. "Full mobilization. I want every ship ready to move within 6 hours. His aide hesitated. "Sir, should we wait for council approval? The protocols say we need authorization for military action." Hyun-soo turned to face him. His voice was cold and hard. "Those protocols were written by politicians who have never heard a distress call. Those are our people out there. We are going, with or without permission." Within an hour, the 3rd Fleet began preparations. 200 warships and support vessels. Thousands of crew members rushing to their posts. The shipyards above Earth buzzed with activity. Everyone had heard about Station Taejin now. Everyone wanted to help. Commander Tail entered the Admiral's office. He was Hyun-soo's second-in-command, a careful and thoughtful officer who balanced the Admiral's aggressive instincts. "The fleet will be ready on schedule," Tail reported. "But sir, we should inform Ambassador Jiwon. She needs to bring this to the council." "Already done," Hyun-soo said. "She is preparing to address them now. But I am not waiting for their decision. The 3rd Fleet leaves in 5 hours regardless of what they say." Far across the galaxy, the Galactic Council chamber was filling with representatives. The council was made up of 43 different species. They met to discuss laws and disputes. They tried to maintain peace among the stars. It did not always work well. Ambassador Jiwon walked to the speaker's platform. She was a small woman with sharp eyes and a quick mind. She had represented humanity for 10 years. She understood how the council worked. She knew most of them feared humans. "Honored Council," she began. 3 days ago, the Vrelnor Empire attacked a human research station in neutral space. They have taken 12 civilians hostage. They have violated multiple treaties. We request council authorization to respond with force. The chamber erupted in noise. Different species talking in different languages. Some angry, some frightened, some simply confused. Speaker Velmuth raised his multiple limbs for silence. He was an insectoid species called the Tresh. His kind were known for being cautious and diplomatic. Ambassador G1, Velmuth said in his clicking voice. This is indeed a serious matter. But military action requires careful consideration. The Vrelnor are powerful. A conflict with them could spread throughout the sector. A representative from the Dryleth species spoke up. They looked like large birds with colorful feathers. The humans are always quick to violence. Perhaps this is a misunderstanding. Perhaps negotiations would be better. Another voice joined in. We have all heard the stories. Humans come from a death world. They are aggressive and unpredictable. If we authorize this, there will be war. G1 listened to them argue. She kept her face calm, but inside she was furious. These species talked about caution and peace, but none of them would help when civilians were in danger. She had seen this before. The council was good at talking. They were terrible at action. Honored council, she said loudly. The chamber grew quiet. You speak of caution. You speak of negotiation. But while you debate, 12 people are suffering. They are scientists, engineers, pilots. They are not soldiers. They did nothing wrong. And they are running out of time. Velmuth clicked his mandibles together. It was a sign of concern. We understand your worry, Ambassador. But surely you see the larger implications. If every species responded to disputes with military force, the galaxy would fall into chaos. This is not a dispute, G1 said. Her voice was sharp now. This is kidnapping. This is piracy. This is a violation of every law we have agreed to follow. The Vrelnor have committed a crime, and if the Council will not act, then humanity will act alone. The chamber filled with noise again. Many representatives looked shocked. Some looked frightened. A few looked approving. A representative from the Kelth species stood up. They were large and slug-like with multiple eyes. Is that a threat, Ambassador? Are you saying humans will ignore Council authority? I am saying that humans protect their own, G1 replied. We have always been clear about this. We value our people above diplomatic convenience. We will answer every distress call. Every time. Without exception. The Council argued for 2 more hours. Finally, they voted. 25 species voted to send a diplomatic envoy instead of authorizing force. 15 voted to support military action. 3 abstained. The diplomatic solution won. Speaker Velmuth announced the decision. The Council will send Envoy Telris to negotiate with the Vrelnor. We trust this matter can be resolved peacefully. Military action is not authorized at this time. G1 stood silently for a moment. Then she spoke one final time. I will inform Earth Command of your decision, but I cannot promise they will follow it. You have chosen words over action. We choose differently. She left the chamber. Behind her, the representatives talked nervously. They had seen the look in her eyes. They understood what was coming. Back on Earth, Admiral Hyunsu received the Council's decision. He read it once and then deleted it. Useless politicians, he muttered. Sir, the fleet is ready, Commander Teal reported. All ships report green status. We can jump to hyperspace on your command. Hyunsu looked at the tactical display. 200 ships ready to fight. Ready to rescue 12 civilians they had never met. This was what it meant to be human. This was what the galaxy did not understand. Prepare to jump, he ordered. Set course for Station Tajin. Maximum speed, but something unexpected was happening. Signals were coming in from all across human space. From colonies and stations and outposts. Everyone had heard about the distress call. Everyone wanted to help. Sir, the communications officer said. Her voice was filled with emotion. We are receiving messages from other fleets. Colony ships, defense forces, private vessels. They are all asking permission to join us. Hyunsu looked at the flood of incoming signals. Ships from Mars Colony, from the mining stations in the belt, from the distant settlements beyond Neptune, from trading vessels and exploration ships and even some civilian transports that had mounted whatever weapons they could find. How many? He asked quietly. At last count 17 different groups, the officer replied. Over 200 additional ships. They are moving to intercept our course. Commander Teal smiled. It was a rare expression for him. It seems we are not going alone, Admiral. Hyunsu felt something in his chest. Pride maybe, or hope. These were not soldiers. Most of them had never seen combat. But they heard an SOS and they were coming, because that was what humans did. Signal to all ships, Hyunsu commanded. Welcome to the rescue fleet. Follow our lead, stay in formation, and prepare for battle. We are going to bring our people home. The fleet jumped to hyperspace. One by one, the ships disappeared in flashes of light. Behind them, more ships kept coming. The word was spreading. Station Taejin needed help, and humanity was answering. Captain Daeho sat in the interrogation room. His face was bruised. His lip was split. The Vrelnor had not been gentle with him. They wanted to know about Earth's military strength, about ship designs and weapon systems, about fleet positions and defense stations. He told them nothing. Every question was met with silence, every threat was ignored. The Vrelnor commander grew more frustrated with each passing hour. "You are foolish," the commander said. His name was Thex. He had been questioning Daeho for 3 days now. "Your government will not come for you. No one risks war over a small research station. You are abandoned, forgotten. Tell us what we want to know, and you can at least live." Daeho looked at him with tired eyes. "You do not understand humans at all." Thex hit him again. The blow knocked Daeho from his chair. Blood ran from his nose. 2 guards pulled him back up and forced him to sit. "We will see how brave you are after another week," Thex said. He left the room. The guards took Daeho back to the common area where the other crew members were being held. Dr. Mireille helped him sit down. She cleaned his face with a wet cloth. Her hands were gentle, but her eyes were angry. "You need to stop making them mad," she whispered. "I need to buy us time," Daeho replied quietly. Someone got the message. Help is coming. Pilot Junho was sitting against the wall. He looked thin. The Vrelnor did not give them much food. They wanted the crew weak and afraid. It was working on some of them, but not on all. Engineer Sora came back from the bathroom. The guards let them go one at a time. She sat down next to Junho and spoke very softly. "I loosened some connections in the environmental controls. The temperature will start dropping in the Vrelnor quarters. Nothing dangerous, but very uncomfortable." "They will know it was sabotage," Junho said. "They will suspect," Sora replied with a small smile, "but they cannot prove anything, and it will make them more worried, more distracted." Security Officer Bora was watching the guards carefully. She had been a soldier before joining the station crew. She knew how military operations worked. She noticed things the others missed. "They are nervous," she whispered to the group. "They keep checking their sensors. They rotate guards more often than necessary. Something is making them worried." "Maybe our message got through," Mireille said hopefully. "Maybe," Bora agreed. "But that could make things more dangerous for us. If a rescue force is coming, the Vrelnor might use us as hostages." The days continued slowly. The Vrelnor interrogated each crew member. They were especially interested in Dr. Mireille and her research. They wanted to know everything about the rare minerals, where to find more, how to extract them, how to use them. Mireille told them half-truths and misdirections. She gave them enough information to seem cooperative, but she left out the important details, the things that really mattered. If they wanted her data, they would have to work much harder for it. Outside the station, more Vrelnor ships arrived. The crew could see them through the windows, big military vessels with heavy weapons. There were now over 30 warships surrounding the station. "Why so many ships?" Junho asked. "We are just 12 people. We cannot fight them." "They are not worried about us," Bora said quietly. She was looking at the sensor display that the guards had left active. "Look at their formation. They are preparing for an attack from outside." Hope spread through the crew like fire. If the Vrelnor were preparing defenses, that meant someone was coming. Someone had received their SOS. Earth had not forgotten them, but hope was dangerous. It made them bold. It made them careless. When a guard pushed one of the younger scientists too hard, the man pushed back. The guard reacted instantly. He raised his weapon and fired. The energy blast hit the scientist in the chest. He dropped without a sound, dead before he hit the floor. The crew screamed and rushed forward. More guards appeared. They pointed their weapons at everyone. "Stay back," one of them shouted. "The next person who resists will die the same way." Captain Deho forced himself between the guards and his crew. His voice was loud and commanding. "Everyone stop, nobody move." The crew fell back slowly. They stared at the body of their friend, a young man from Korea who loved astronomy, who had come to the station to study the stars. Now he was dead on the cold metal floor. Commander Thex appeared. He looked at the body without emotion. "Remove it. Let this be a lesson. Cooperation is rewarded. Resistance brings death." The guards dragged the body away. The crew was forced back into the common area. No one spoke for a long time. The reality of their situation had become clear. The Vrelnor would kill them without hesitation. They had to be careful. They had to survive until help arrived, if help was coming at all. That night, Security Officer Bora could not sleep. She lay on the hard floor and thought about the dead scientist, about the guards and their weapons, about the layout of the station. She had been trained to fight, to plan, to attack when the moment was right. She started counting guards, watching their patrol routes, timing their rotations. The Vrelnor were professional, but they were not perfect. They made small mistakes. They got comfortable, predictable. "What are you doing?" Deho whispered. He had noticed her watching. "Planning," Bora replied. "If rescue comes, they will attack from outside. The Vrelnor will focus on the space battle. That will be our moment. We can take the station back from inside." "We are scientists and engineers," Deho said. "Not soldiers." "I am a soldier," Bora reminded him. "And you were military before you became a station commander. We are not helpless. We can fight. Fighting will get people killed. People are already dying. We cannot just sit here and wait." Bora looked at him with hard eyes. "If rescue comes, we need to help them. We need to be ready." Deho thought about it. She was right. They could not sit idle. If Earth sent ships to save them, they had to do their part. They had to survive. And if that meant fighting, then they would fight. "Okay," he said finally. "Make your plans. But quietly. And only tell people you trust completely." Over the next 2 days, Bora spoke to each crew member privately. She assigned roles. The engineers would disable station systems on her signal. The scientists would create distractions. Everyone would have a job when the moment came. Meanwhile, the Vrelnor grew more anxious. More ships arrived. Their commander, Admiral Krovas, took personal command of the fleet. He was older than Thex and far more experienced. He had fought many battles across the galaxy, but he had never fought humans before. On the 5th day of captivity, the station sensors detected something unusual, energy signatures appearing at the edge of the system. Lots of them. Moving fast, coming straight toward the station. Commander Thex rushed to the command center. He looked at the display and his face went pale. "Get Admiral Krovas, now." The Admiral arrived quickly. He studied the sensors carefully. What he saw made him uneasy. Those were not just warships approaching. Those were fleets, multiple fleets, from different directions, all converging on their position. "How many ships?" he demanded. The sensor officer worked his controls frantically. "Difficult to determine. They are spreading out. At least 300, maybe more. They are all broadcasting human identification codes." Admiral Krovas stood very still. 300 ships for 12 hostages. It did not make sense. No rational species would respond with such overwhelming force for a small research station, but humans were not like other species. The Admiral was beginning to understand that. "Increase alert status," he ordered. "All ships to battle positions. Prepare for combat. And bring me the human commander. I need to speak with him." Inside the common area, the crew heard the alarms. They saw Vrelnor soldiers running through the corridors. Something was happening, something big. Deho was pulled from the room and brought before Admiral Krovas. The Vrelnor admiral studied him carefully. "Your people are coming," Krovas said, "in very large numbers. Why would Earth send so many ships for so few people? Deho smiled despite his injuries, despite his fear, despite everything. Because we are human, he said simply. And humans do not leave anyone behind. The first human ships emerged from hyperspace like a storm. Brilliant flashes of light appeared across the darkness, one after another, dozens, then hundreds. The space around Station Taejin filled with vessels of every size and type. Admiral Hyunsu stood on the bridge of his flagship, the destroyer Dawn's Edge. He watched the tactical display as more ships continued arriving. The Third Fleet had grown during the journey. Ships from 17 different colonies and stations, private vessels and military warships flying side by side. Final count, sir, Commander Tail reported. 412 ships. Not all of them are warships, but they all have weapons of some kind. Hyunsu nodded slowly. It was more than he expected. More than anyone expected. The galaxy was about to learn something about humanity. When one human called for help, all humans answered. Status on the Vrelnor fleet? He asked. 140 ships confirmed. They are in defensive formation around the station. No hostile action yet. They are waiting to see what we do. Open a channel. All frequencies. I want everyone to hear this. The Vrelnor, the council envoy if they are here, and especially our people on that station. The communications officer worked quickly. Channel open, Admiral. Hyunsu's voice was calm and hard. This is Admiral Hyunsu of the United Earth Space Command to Vrelnor forces. You have taken human citizens hostage in neutral space. You have violated multiple treaties and laws. You have 1 hour to release all hostages unharmed and withdraw your forces. If you do not comply, we will take action. This is your only warning. The message broadcast across every channel. Inside the station, Captain Deho and his crew heard it. Relief and hope flooded through them. They looked at each other with tears in their eyes. Earth had come. They had not been forgotten. Security Officer Bora stood up immediately. Everyone listen. This is it. When the fighting starts, we move. Remember what I told you. Stay together. Follow my lead. The Vrelnor guards had heard the transmission too. They looked nervous now. Some of them spoke quickly into their communicators. Others gripped their weapons tighter. They understood what was coming. In the Vrelnor command ship, Admiral Krova studied the sensor data. 400 human ships. His 140 were outnumbered almost 3-1. And these were not just any ships. These were vessels crewed by Deathworlders, beings from a planet so harsh that it killed most species who tried to land there. The Vrelnor had intelligence reports about humans, about their aggression and unpredictability, about their strange unwillingness to accept losses. Most species in the galaxy understood that sometimes you had to abandon people. Sometimes the cost was too high. But humans did not think that way. Krovis had dismissed those reports as exaggeration. Now he was not so sure. Send a message to the human admiral, he ordered. Tell him we are willing to negotiate. The message reached Hyunsu quickly. He read it and laughed without humor. Negotiate. Now they want to talk. After they took our people hostage. Sir, the council diplomatic envoy has arrived, Teal reported. They are requesting permission to mediate. A small ship appeared on the sensors. It bore the markings of the Galactic Council. Inside was Envoy Telris, a Kelth diplomat known for his patience and skill. He had resolved many conflicts in his long career. He believed this would be no different. This is Envoy Telris, his message came through. I am here on behalf of the Galactic Council. I urge both sides to lower tensions. Violence will only bring more violence. Let us find a peaceful solution to this situation. Hyunsu was quiet for a moment. Then he responded. Envoy Telris, you are welcome to try. But understand this. We did not come here to negotiate. We came here to bring our people home. The Vrelnor have 58 minutes remaining. Captain Yuna commanded a defense ship from the Mars colony. Her vessel was small compared to the military warships. But she had come anyway. She listened to the Admiral's message and felt pride in her chest. This was what humanity meant. This was why they had survived when other species said they could not. She opened a channel to her crew. Listen up, everyone. We are not the biggest ship here. We are not the strongest. But we are human. And that means when the shooting starts, we fight with everything we have. No holding back. No retreat. We go forward until our people are safe. Understood? Her crew responded with determination. They were miners and engineers and colonists, but today they were warriors. The hour crawled by slowly. The Vrelnor fleet remained in position. They tried to contact Earth Command. They sent messages to the Council. They looked for any way to avoid the battle that was coming. But they did not release the hostages. Inside the station, Security Officer Bora gathered the crew. When I give the signal, Sora will cut power to the Vrelnor sections. That will give us maybe 2 minutes in the chaos. We take the armory first, then we move to secure the command center. Captain Deho and I will lead. Everyone else stays in the middle. Do not try to be brave. Just stay alive. Pilot Junho was shaking. He was scared. He did not want to admit it, but everyone could see it. Dr. Mirai put a hand on his shoulder. We will get through this, she said gently. Help is right outside. We just need to survive a little longer. I am not a fighter, Junho whispered. I fly ships. I do not hurt people. Today you do what you must, Deho told him. His voice was kind but firm. We all do. For ourselves. For each other. For everyone who came to rescue us. The hour ended. Admiral Hyunsu waited 1 extra minute. He gave the Vrelnor every possible chance. Then he gave the order. All ships. Weapons free. Engage the enemy. The human fleet surged forward. 400 ships moving as one. Their weapons lit up the darkness. Energy beams and missiles streaked across space toward the Vrelnor formation. The Vrelnor returned fire immediately. The space battle erupted in fury and light. Ships dodged and weaved. Shields flared under impact. Explosions bloomed like deadly flowers. Admiral Krovis watched in growing horror. The human ships moved faster than his vessels. They were more agile, more aggressive. They took risks that no rational commander would allow. Some human ships flew straight at Vrelnor warships, firing at point-blank range. One human destroyer rammed a Vrelnor cruiser. The impact destroyed both ships, but it created a gap in the Vrelnor formation. More human vessels poured through the opening. They are insane, one of Krovis's officers shouted. They sacrifice their own ships. They sacrifice for the mission, Krovis said quietly. For their people. We fight for the Empire. They fight for each other. That makes them dangerous. Inside the station, the crew felt the impacts through the hull. The battle had begun. Bora looked at Sora and nodded. Now. Sora pulled out a small device she had built from stolen components. She pressed the button. Throughout the station, power systems failed in the Vrelnor-occupied sections. Lights went out. Doors locked. Computers shut down. The Vrelnor guards in the common area shouted in confusion. They tried their communicators, but the network was down. In that moment of chaos, Bora moved. She grabbed the nearest guard's weapon and twisted it from his grip. The motion was fast and practiced. She used the weapon to strike another guard in the face. He dropped instantly. Deho jumped forward and grabbed that guard's weapon. Move, Bora shouted. Now! Go, go, go! The crew ran. Some Vrelnor guards recovered quickly and opened fire. Energy blasts filled the corridor. One blast hit a scientist in the leg. He screamed, but his friends pulled him along. They could not stop, could not slow down. Bora reached the armory first. The door was locked, but Sora had prepared for this. She bypassed the controls in seconds. The door opened. Inside were Vrelnor weapons and some of the station's original equipment. Arm yourselves, Deho ordered. Even if you have never fired a gun before, take one. We stay together. We move fast. Next stop is the command center. Outside the station, the battle raged. Human ships swarmed the Vrelnor vessels like angry insects. For every human ship destroyed, 3 more took its place. The Vrelnor were stronger individually, but they were overwhelmed by numbers and ferocity. Captain Yuna's ship took heavy damage. Her shields were failing. Her weapons were overheating, but she saw a Vrelnor cruiser trying to target the station. If that ship fired its main guns, the station would be destroyed. All the hostages would die. All power to engines, she commanded. Ram course. Full speed, her crew did not question. They did not hesitate. The small mining ship accelerated toward the massive cruiser. The Vrelnor vessel tried to evade, but it was too slow, too big. Yuna's ship struck the cruiser's main reactor. The explosion was visible from Earth. When the light faded, both ships were gone. But the station was safe. Admiral Hyunsu saw the sacrifice on his display. He did not know who commanded that ship, did not know their name. But he would find out. He would make sure everyone knew what they had done. All ships press forward, he ordered. For every human who has fallen today, for everyone we came to save, we do not stop until we win. Inside the station, the crew fought through the corridors. They had surprise and desperation on their side. The Vrelnor had training and better weapons. It was a brutal fight in close quarters. Commander Thex appeared with reinforcements. He saw the humans fighting back and his face twisted with rage. These were supposed to be helpless civilians. Not warriors. Not soldiers. The command center door was reinforced. Security Officer Bora fired at the lock mechanism, but it held. Behind them, more Vrelnor soldiers were coming. They could hear boots pounding on metal floors, shouting in the harsh Vrelnor language. "Sora," Captain Deho called. "Can you override it?" Engineer Sora was already working on the control panel. Her fingers moved fast across the touchscreen. "Give me 30 seconds. "We do not have 30 seconds, Pilot Junho said. He was watching the corridor behind them. Shadows moved in the darkness. The Vrelnor were close. Dr. Mireille and 2 others positioned themselves to provide covering fire. They had never been soldiers, never trained for combat, but they had learned something important over the past days. They had learned that sometimes you fight or you die. There was no third option. The first Vrelnor soldier came around the corner. Mireille fired. Her shot went wide, but it made the soldier dive for cover. That bought them a few more seconds. "Done," Sora shouted. The door slid open. The crew rushed inside and sealed it behind them. Heavy bolts locked into place. It would not hold forever, but it would buy them time. The command center had windows looking out into space. The crew saw the battle raging outside. Explosions lit up the darkness. Ships dodged and fought and died. It was beautiful and terrible at the same time. "Look at them all," Junho whispered. "They came for us. All of them." Deho moved to the communications console. He activated the transmitter. "This is Captain Deho of Research Station Tajin to any human vessel. We have retaken the command center. We have 11 survivors. Requesting immediate assistance, the response came instantly. It was Admiral Hyunsu himself. "Captain Deho, this is Admiral Hyunsu. We are coming for you. Hold your position. Help is on the way." "Understood, Admiral. We will hold." Outside in space, the battle had turned decisively. The Vrelnor fleet was breaking apart. Their formation had collapsed under the relentless human assault. Ships were retreating in all directions. Some tried to escape to hyperspace, but human vessels pursued them. Admiral Krovis sat in his command chair and watched his fleet dying. He had made a terrible mistake. He had thought humans were like other species, that they would calculate costs and decide 12 lives were not worth a war. He had been completely wrong. "Order general retreat," he said quietly. His officers looked at him in shock. The Vrelnor did not retreat. They never retreated. "Now," Krovis said more firmly, "get our people out of here. This battle is lost." The Vrelnor warships began jumping to hyperspace. One by one, they disappeared. The human fleet let them go. They were not here for conquest. They were here for rescue. But inside the station, the Vrelnor soldiers did not know about the retreat order. They were still trying to reach the command center. They brought heavy cutting equipment to get through the door. Commander Thex led them personally. His shoulder was bandaged, but he refused medical treatment. He wanted revenge. These humans had humiliated him, made him look weak. He would kill them all before he left the station. "The door will not hold much longer," Bora said. She checked her weapon. Almost out of power. The others were in similar condition. They had maybe one more fight left in them. Deho looked at his crew. They were tired, scared, injured, but they were still standing, still ready to fight. He felt overwhelming pride in that moment. These were not warriors. They were scientists and engineers, but they had the strength to survive. "Whatever happens," he said quietly, "you have all been brave beyond words. I am honored to serve with you." The door began to glow red. The Vrelnor were cutting through. Soon they would breach. The crew raised their weapons and prepared for the final battle. Then something changed. A new sound filled the station. The distinctive hum of boarding tubes attaching to airlocks. But these were human boarding tubes. The crew heard English being spoken in the corridors. American accents and British and Australian. Human soldiers had arrived. The sounds of fighting erupted throughout the station. The Vrelnor soldiers forgot about the command center. They were now defending themselves against trained human marines. It was a short fight. Admiral Hyunsu led the boarding party personally. He moved through the station with practiced efficiency. His marines cleared each corridor with precision. The Vrelnor fought hard, but they were outnumbered and surrounded. Commander Thex made a final stand near the command center. He refused to surrender. He raised his weapon toward the door where the crew was trapped. If he could not win, he would at least kill the human commander. But pilot Junho saw him through the window, saw the weapon aiming at the door. He grabbed a rifle and fired through the glass. The shot was wild and desperate, but it hit Thex in the chest. The Vrelnor commander fell and did not get up. Minutes later, the command center door opened. Admiral Hunsu stood there with a squad of Marines. He looked at the crew, at their injuries and their makeshift weapons, at their determined faces. "Captain Daiho?" he asked. "Here, Admiral." Daiho stepped forward. He tried to salute, but his injured arm would not lift properly. Hunsu smiled slightly. "Do not salute me, Captain. You and your crew have done more than enough. Let us get you out of here." The crew was escorted to the hangar bay. Medical teams were waiting. They treated injuries and provided food and water. The crew members cried and laughed and held each other. They were safe. After days of fear and pain, they were finally safe. But there was one person missing. The young scientist who had been killed on the first day. The crew grew quiet when they remembered him. Kunyo sat on the floor and put his face in his hands. "He should be here," Junho said. "We all should have made it." Admiral Hunsu knelt beside him. What was his name? Taiyang. He was 23. He loved astronomy. He wanted to study distant galaxies. Junho looked up with red eyes. "Is it worth it, Admiral? One life for all this destruction?" Hunsu was quiet for a moment. Then he spoke carefully. "I cannot tell you if it was worth it. I can only tell you this. We do not leave people behind. Not one, not ever. If we did, we would stop being human. We would become something else. Something I do not want to be." The crew was taken to the flagship for medical treatment and rest. The battle was over. The Vrelnor had fled. The station was secure. All across the sector, species heard about what happened. About the human response to a simple distress call. The Galactic Council held an emergency session. Envoy Telris gave his report. He had watched the entire battle from his ship. He had seen the human ferocity, the willingness to sacrifice, the absolute refusal to abandon their people. "They are unlike any species we have encountered," Telris told the Council. "They do not calculate costs the way we do. They do not weigh outcomes. If one of their own is in danger, they respond with overwhelming force. Every time. This is not aggression. This is something else, something we must understand if we are to coexist with them." Speaker Velmuth clicked his mandibles thoughtfully. "We called them Deathworlders. We thought that meant they were violent, dangerous, but perhaps it means something more. Perhaps it means they value life in ways we do not." The Council voted on new measures. Human stations would receive additional protections in neutral space. The Vrelnor Empire was sanctioned for their actions. Treaties were revised to prevent similar incidents. But more importantly, word spread across the galaxy. Every species heard the story. If you threaten a human, all humans become your enemy. If you harm one, thousands will come for revenge. If you hear a human distress call, you should either help or stay far away. The Vrelnor Empire sent a formal apology to Earth. They released all human prisoners in their territory. They withdrew their forces from several disputed regions. Admiral Krovis was removed from command for his failure. Back at the station, repairs began. The crew chose to stay and continue their research. They had been through hell, but this was still their home. Earth offered them new assignments, safer locations, but they refused. "We started something here," Dr. Mire said. "We should finish it." Captain Daiho stood at the command center window. Outside, a permanent defense fleet now orbited the station. 50 warships watching over 12 civilians. It seemed like overkill to some, but Daiho understood. This was not about him or his crew. This was about what humanity stood for. Admiral Hunsu visited before the Third Fleet departed. He found Daiho looking at the stars. "How are you feeling, Captain?" "Grateful," Daiho replied, "and amazed. 400 ships came for us. People we never met, risking their lives for strangers." "You are not strangers," Hunsu said simply. "You are human. That is all that matters." They stood together in silence for a moment. Then Hunsu spoke again. "That pilot on your crew, Junho, he sent the distress call?" "Yes, sir. He launched the probe before the Vrelnor could stop us. Then he saved all of you. If we had not received that message, we would never have known you were in danger. He did well." "I will tell him you said so." Hunsu turned to leave. Then he paused. Captain, do you know what the other species call that probe now? The one that brought us here? No, sir. They call it the Deathworlder's bell. They say that when humans hear it ring, they come with fire and fury. They say it is the most dangerous sound in the galaxy. A simple SOS from a simple research station, but it brought an armada. After the Admiral left, Deho returned to watching the stars. Somewhere out there, the probe was still drifting through space.